Listen to me when I say this to you. I've been studying martial arts my entire life, and I'm not gonna lie to you. There's been times where I felt like I was a tough guy. But after seeing this Dogman, I realized quick, fast, and in a hurry that my definition of tough and my definition of guy has nothing in common with what the hell it really means to be tough at all. I'm just a human being, a mere mortal man walking on this planet made of dirt, and whatever the hell this thing was, it absolutely couldn't have been natural. Imagine a scene. There's a martial arts tournament in Ruston, Louisiana. I'm driving from Dallas to Ruston. It's a 3-hour drive, not a long drive at all. Head on in, get to the tournament, I compete, things go well, end up taking first place in the heavyweight fight. The problem was Ruston was a small college town. There wasn't much to do. So my friends and I head on over to Shreveport. We get to Shreveport, party like rock stars, and now we're headed back to Ruston for the second day of the events. And right here in this moment is when things get to going buck bananas. We're on I-20 headed to Ruston, and there's an accident. I'm looking at my GPS, and there's all kind of little highways and roadways where you can shoot around that accident, get back on I-20, and get back rolling again. So while they're sitting in traffic, I decide I'm going to exit, shoot off this little small highway, ride around through the woods, loop around, and get back on I-20, and I figure I'll beat them back, right? Wrong. I get off the main interstate and get on this lonely, and I do mean like horror movie lonely, 2-lane highway. I'm driving along, and I see this woman and her kid on the side of the road trying to change a tire. And when I say woman and kid, this kid is like 9 years old. They're out there at night trying to change the tire on their car. So naturally, I pull over, hop out. How can I help you, ma'am? She goes on to explain to me that she has it under control. She doesn't need help. And listen, I can understand where she was. She's a woman by herself with a son. She don't really want to engage any type of man on the side of the road. But I insist. I said, listen, it's dangerous out here on the side of the road for you two guys. Get in the car. I'll change the tire. As soon as it's down, you can pull off. I understand if you don't trust me. So now I'm on the side of the road, changing this woman's tire. I got the lug nuts off. I got the spare tire going back on. I'm screwing it in when I hear what sounds like talking in the woods. And I want to be clear with you. It sounds like two people talking in the woods on the opposite side of the car. For a split second, and I mean for a split second, my brain starts to say, hold on. Maybe, just maybe, this whole situation is a setup. Maybe this woman and her kids, they ain't out here on the side of the road in the middle of the night stranded. Maybe they looking for a sucker like me to pull over to help them. So now I'm quickly screwing the lug nuts onto the tire. I grab the tire iron and I stand up and start to work my way around the backside of her car towards the woods so I can try and look in and see what's going on. While I'm circling around the backside of that car, her son is in the back seat beating on the back window. Not the side window, the back window. He's fist pounding on the back window, pointing to the opposite side of the road behind me. But I know I heard male voices coming from those woods. And while I'm thinking about this whole situation, let me say this. There was something not normal about this woman's son. He was creepy. The kid had these bags under his eyes, and the flesh around his eyes was that beet red color, like he hadn't slept for 4 days. Nonetheless, he's beating on the back window. I'm headed towards the woods. Now he's pointing behind me, and I'm saying to myself, okay, this is way too much. So I turn and look behind me, and what I initially see is a silhouette, because it's way too damn dark on this road for me to really get a clear glimpse at what I'm looking at. But I see a silhouette that looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger standing on the opposite side of the road on a diagonal. And it wasn't until that woman cranked the car up, touched the brakes, that it illuminated what the hell I was looking at. The only word that I can think of to accurately describe what I was looking at was a monster. A flesh and blood, genetically modified, came out of a lab monster. Thin waist, huge pectoral muscles, huge shoulder muscles, huge traps, and then the head to match that was like a wolf's head. Its snout was short, and its eyes reflected the same red color of those tail lights. Now, I didn't get a glimpse of the lower body because I didn't stick around to get a full glimpse of the lower body. And if I'm being completely and totally honest with you, I drove off so fast, I'm not sure if that mom and her creepy kid got away from it. Like I said, I fancy myself a tough guy. Man on man, I whoop your ass. I'm a 3rd-degree black belt. But man on monster? No, sir. No, sir. Not at all. Had I known shooting the Dogman would have caused all these problems, there is no way I would have ever drew my bow and let it fly. That is one thing I can assure you of. Now, before I start, let me say this. I have been seeing this thing running around for 4 months, chasing deer. And from a distance, it just looked like a regular large wolf. Nothing spectacular about it at all. I'm out hunting on my land. The air is cold. And frankly, that day I had no need to be out hunting. I had a freezer full of deer and hog meat. But going out into the woods, heck, becomes a habit for me at that point in time. So I get out there, climb up my tree stand, and I wait. I'm sitting there drinking me some coffee out of my thermal when I hear the sound of something running in. That's when I get a glimpse of it. That antler rack, that reddish brown, and oh boy, I was about to take me a white-tailed deer, and we talking about a huge buck. So now I'm raising my compound bow. And right then and there is when I realized that there's something in the woods right on the tail of this deer, chasing it down. And it's that wolf. The same damn wolf that I've been seeing everywhere. It was almost like it was hunting the exact same spots I was at the exact same time. And I'm not going to sit here and say to you that's exactly what was going on, but I'm going to just say that's odd and coincidental. So imagine a scene. I'm there sitting in a tree stand thinking to myself, all right, if I shoot this buck, I'm going to have to fight with this wolf to get it. But if I take out this wolf, I take out all my competition. So I draw, take aim, and now I'm tracing him between the trees. My release was a tad bit off, and instead of my shot leading him, hitting him, smashing him in the lungs, it lagged and caught the wolf in its hind legs. Listen to me when I tell you this thing stopped in its tracks. It came to a dead standstill. Now, if you ever bow hunted before, you know how animals react to being hit by an arrow. They tend to twist and turn and spin their body, their noses pointing towards the pain. I'm thinking that this animal is going to do what all other animals do. Twist, turn, trying to twist this body, turn, looking to see what happened. But no, not at all. This thing stands straight up like a man and starts to scan the woods. It knew that it had been shot. It was trying to figure out where the hell it got shot from. So now I'm there looking as it scans 180 degrees, then turns and looks right back at me. Its eyes locked dead on me. And it was right then and there in that moment that I knew I had screwed up. Now, I can't explain to you why it didn't drop down and come straight to get me. I don't know. However, I do remember it sniffing the air, then dropping down on all fours and running off. You could tell at that moment in time, it was in pain. A week passes, right? I done forgot all about this whole thing. It's 12 noon, I'm headed to my truck. I'm finna go run to the store and get myself a bag of potato chips. When I walk out of the door, that same deer that I was hunting that day, its head is laying on the hood of my truck, spinal cord still intact, and my neighbor Ellis is sitting on his porch across the street, and he looks like he's done had a freaking heart attack. He's as white as a hospital bed sheet. He starts screaming at the top of his lungs, Robert, oh shit, Rizzo. I never seen him run, never seen him do anything fast or in a hurry, but he gets up out of that chair, hurries down the steps and into the road right up to the edge of my property. He says, Robert, I don't know what the hell you've done, son. and the tone of his voice was like an older man scolding his child. Do you know what I just saw? Do you know what I just saw? That's the Carolina Wolfman just came out of them damn woods and threw that buck's head on your truck, son. What in the hell have you been doing to piss one of them things off like that? Imagine the scene. I'm standing there going into my story, trying to explain to him what happened a week ago while I was out hunting. And Ellis just stands there looking at me with this look of pity on his face. And he says, son, last man I seen have a run-in with one of those things, I was 30 years old. They found that man's body parts spread all over these woods. Then Ellis sucks his teeth, turns, and walks off, saying, don't you set foot on my property. I don't want your scent over here. Don't need that thing thinking I got nothing to do with what you did to it. And I remember hearing him mumbling under his breath as he was going back up the steps saying, he decided he gonna shoot a wolf. Oh, stupid son of a bitch. Now pause right here in the story for a moment and let me say something to you. I'm standing there with this giant deer head on the hood of my truck. My neighbor across the street, both concerned and pissed, and trying to figure out exactly what the hell is going on. And I cannot explain to you if what I was going through in that moment in time was shock or what it was, but I know my brain hit a mud puddle. I remember taking a deer head off, dragging it off the hood of my car, taking it around the side of the house, grabbing a hose pipe, washing all the blood off the hood, getting inside. And that's when I hit that mud puddle. If you don't know what I mean by a mud puddle, you've seen it. We've all seen it. It's like when Joe Biden's up there giving a speech. He's talking, saying things, and then he just stops. He freezes, stares off into the distance. I found myself sitting right there in the driver's seat of my truck, just staring off into the distance. The next thing, I was backing out of the driveway. Then I was in the store getting potato chips. Then I ended up driving home. But it was almost as if I was having an outer body experience. Like my brain had turned in the key and checked out of the hotel room. Nah, check this out. If that's not strange enough, when I get back home, Ellis is standing up on his porch and he says, Robert, there's a light flashing in your kitchen. I can see it through the window. Something going on inside. So now I'm hurrying inside of the house with a bag of chips in hand. And when I open the door, there is a kitchen fire starting. Not just a regular kitchen fire. My microwave is arcing these blue electrical flames. Now, to be clear with you, I did not turn my microwave on. There was no reason for my microwave to be arching these blue flames. And to describe those blue flames to you, if you have ever put tinfoil inside of your microwave and turned it on, those blue sparks that you see, that's what's going on outside of the microwave, not inside of the microwave. Those blue sparks ride up the wall and the wall catches on fire. Now listen, is there a fire going on? Yes. At this point in time, is it a big deal? No. I have a fire extinguisher right up under the sink. No need to panic. I grab that fire extinguisher, spray everything down, the fire goes out, or so I thought. 10 minutes later, I'm walking around the house and the fire starts up all over again, all on its own. My entire kitchen burns. And here's the freakiest thing about it. The kitchen burns and then the fire goes out on its own. Are you listening to me? My kitchen catches on fire, it burns, and then it goes out on its own. Listen, I'm a poor country boy. I don't have no homeowner's insurance. So a week passes and I'm borrowing money from friends and trying to get stuff squared away. I finally get enough to start taking care of the kitchen, right? I'm tearing things out, going in and out, back and forth, tearing out drywall, tearing out cabinets, trying to get my house situated. Then all of a sudden, and out of the blue, comes this freaky rainstorm. I'm talking about blue skies, then black skies. Raindrops the size of small champagne glasses just slam into the ground. Unlike anything I have ever seen. This goes on for hours. Next thing, the creek behind my house starts to flood. And now I have 3 inches, count them, 1, 2, 3 inches of water inside of my house, just enough to get up over the baseboard and start to soak into the drywall. Now, at this point in time, I done had enough. I feel like I'm losing my mind. I go outside with the intent to scream up at God and say, God, what did I do you to piss you off in order for something like this to happen? I go out of the front door, and for some reason, I just look over to my left. I can't tell you why. My eyes are just drawn in that direction, and I see that wolf standing there, right there in the tree line, looking directly at me with this stupid smile on its face. And then right next to that wolf is what looks like a man dressed in a black suit with this bulbous looking head. They're there for 20 seconds. I'm standing there looking. They're there. I'm not confused. I wasn't high. I wasn't drunk. I know what I'm looking at. And I keep my eyes locked on them. And then the 2 of them disappear.